Well, hello to all my Oscar gold diggers and my Flickering Myth family. Welcome to our channel. My name is EJ, and we have a very special video today. I am a big fan of the awards season. I'm a Critics' Choice Association member, so I get to vote in that award show. But the biggest award show, the one that we're all always trying to predict, always trying to figure out what the hell's going to happen, we are going to be looking at the next Oscars. 2024 Academy Awards are honestly just around the corner, so we are going to be looking at the big five today. We will be looking at the five biggest categories at the Oscars and predicting which movies are going to be there, and is there a possibility that someone can join the very prestigious group of films that have won all of the five major awards? We'll be figuring that out today in our new video, so make sure you guys tune in. So I'm going to give you my overall feelings of this awards season. It's been a slow start. We had some early contenders with Barbenheimer, and then it slowed down, and then the WGA strike, and then the SAG-AFTRA strike. It really feels like it slowed things down immensely, but things are picking right back up. We're getting new trailers, new movies are coming out. It's just a great time to be in the awards conversation, and there's a lot of major movies happening this year. At first I was just kind of like, this is a pretty weak year, but we have a Scorsese film, Greta Gerwig, Christopher Nolan. There are so many foreign films coming over to making a big impression, and then we also have Netflix dominating the conversation with things like Rustin, Naiad, Maestro. There is May, December. There are so many movies just from Netflix alone. So this year is pretty jam-packed, and there's been some movies I very much enjoyed. I'm a big fan of Barbie. As much as Oppenheimer didn't sit with me well, I still respect the craftsmanship, and I gave Killers of the Flower Moon a 5-star. So these are just some of the major ones I've enjoyed, but there's a lot of nitty-gritty ones here. We also have the general conversation of The Color Purple. Nobody has seen it. It is supposedly a major awards contender, but I can't include it on any of my predictions because I haven't seen it. And there's even movies here that I haven't seen, but the general public has seen it. The awards people have definitely been talking about it, from Cannes to TIFF to Venice. So there is some ones that I haven't personally seen here that I will be including, but The Color Purple is like this big mystery hanging over all of us. Will it come here and throw off all our predictions? What the hell is that going to be? But that's for a different video at a different time when I can update this. But right now, we are going to be looking at the five major categories and predicting if there's a movie that can clean sweep all major five. It seems like that era is gone. The idea of someone winning the big five, which has only happened 3 other times, with It Happened One Night, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Silence of the Lambs. What a great collection of movies right there. But I feel like the Oscars have moved away from trying to just throw a bunch of awards onto one movie. So is it possible that could still happen? There is one movie out of all of the ones here that I could think easily can sweep the 5 major awards, which are screenplay. It can either be adapted or original, actor, actress, picture, and director. There is one movie in my predictions we will talk about, and it's going to be pretty controversial for some people, but let's get into this and let's start talking about those screenplays. Looking at my notes for adapted screenplay, I have Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest, and one of my shocking ones here is Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse has been one of the most major mainstream films. It's a crazy animated adventure, but it also has a great script. Do I think the very part 2 nature of this movie will hinder its journey to getting a Best Picture nomination or even making it into the screenplay category? Sure, but I actually think it's a strong script. But looking at what's here, at adapted specifically, though I think the winner will be in the original screenplay category, to me, adapted, one of the best chances is Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon. I do think The Zone of Interest will be a major conversation point with what's going on in the world. I think this film speaks to a lot of trauma. It speaks to a lot of what society and what we have been going through as people, and our either ignorance to some things or our willingly blissful ignorance. There's going to be a lot of conversation started with The Zone of Interest. So I think as we get to awards season, it's going to be a bigger piece, but it's like you can't bet against Scorsese and Nolan. It's hard, though. Again, there's one person who I'm definitely betting against them with. But yeah, I really see Killers or Oppenheimer really being the adapted screenplay crutch. Those are two of the most famous movies of the year. Like, even if Killers of the Flower Moon is going to make nowhere near Oppenheimer level money, it's still Scorsese, it's still Leo, it's still a damn good adapted script. I know people have issues with representation, with like Lily Gladstone's character, but to me, it adapted the book very, very well. Now, going to the original category, oh goodness, we have Past Lives. Spoiler alert, this is the only nomination I have for Past Lives. It was such a big thing like in July, but as we enter November, as we get closer to it, it seems like the Past Lives conversation is just not there, but I can definitely see it getting a nomination for screenplay. So we have Past Lives, Anatomy of a Fall, a movie I've not seen yet, but it's been everywhere, Barbie, The Holdovers, and Maestro. Spoiler again, Maestro is to me, it's the big five contender. We'll get into each reason why, but I think that Maestro script does great with doing a biopic without having to be adapted from something, with also making this person, you know, Leonard Bernstein, just such a character, a figure, and not a saint. The script does not make Leonard's character just seem like this easy person to like, to love, you know, to admire. He's a challenging person, and I think the film did that so well. Maestro, to me, is such a powerful film, and I think the conversations of uh, religion, sexuality, of art, of being in the industry, those are all things that usually speak to Academy voters. And if Bradley Cooper can really come and razzle dazzle some people, he can easily get a nomination here. But do not sleep on Barbie. The fact that it's in the original category is strange. That is definitely, you know, I'm sure someone's going to yell, you know, category fraud. Sis, I don't care. I don't care if you think this person's not supposed to be in this category. Surprise, the studio and the actors put themselves here. That's where they're going. That's where, you know, that's where these things go. If you don't agree and if you're going to yell category fraud in my comments, save it for somebody else. Go take it to the experts or the best picture people. Those, take it there. Here, I'm just saying this is what people submit. This is what I'm doing. Barbie as an original screenplay is strange, but it's also, again, a very big contender. Barbie is one of the biggest movies of the year. Actually, surprise, it is the biggest movie of the year. A billion-dollar film directed by a woman, written by a woman and her partner, Noah Baumbach. I can't wait. Greta Gerwig, if she had a strong lead actor, she could have big fived it as well. She could have been in my conversation, but Ryan Gosling will be in supporting, so he won't be considered for the big five wins. But goodness, screenplay is hard. I definitely think for me, it's between Maestro and it's between Oppenheimer, which is the conversation for this whole video. Maestro and Oppenheimer, where do they fall? Who will they fall into? What are you voting for? That's just screenplay. My goodness, let's get into acting, and this is going to get even crazier. When it comes to Best Actor, this is the hardest one for me. I want to put Bradley Cooper. He is doing the most acting. He is acting his face off. Oh my goodness, Bradley Cooper and Maestro, it's a revelation. It's to me my favorite male performance of the year, but Leonardo DiCaprio, but Cillian Murphy, but Jeffrey Wright. Like, oh my god. And I love Coleman Domingo and Rustin. I feel like no one else does, and that's just going to be me, you know, cheering on Rustin from the back and no one else is going to. But my goodness, what a year. One, for complicated, pathetic male characters, like from Alden Ehrenreich in Fair Play to Leonardo DiCaprio to Oppenheimer to so many of these men are challenging, are interesting. I mean, Leonard Bernstein, what I saw Bradley Cooper do in that film is magnificent. He is such a layered performance, and there's so much I got from him. He's doing the most acting, but then Cillian, I think, is the opposite. He's so calm, cool, collected, doesn't have a lot of lines, doesn't have the most flashy moments, but really does bring us in. And then Leonardo DiCaprio, a one-time Oscar winner, a bazillion-time nominee. Is this his time for a number two? I don't know. But for me, my prediction is going to be with Bradley Cooper in Maestro. You cannot see this movie and not feel he does not pour his heart, his soul, and everything he can. And I mean, he was also writing and also directing. Oh my goodness. We will now look at actress, which is usually my favorite category every year. This year is no different. I love the women presented in this category, but potentially, I don't know who's going to be in here because The Color Purple can throw off every single prediction I have. Who knows? But right now, I have Emma Stone, Lily Gladstone. We have Margot Robbie for Barbie, which I honestly did not have originally, but she has been in that conversation every time. Sandra Huller, oh my goodness, if you have not seen her work, watch it. Watch it. Anatomy of the Fall, she eats that movie up. Oh my goodness. And then my pick is Carey Mulligan. I don't know. Her work in Maestro was just a movie one I did not expect to like this much. So if you think I'm some bias, like I'm coming into this, truly, I have no idea why this movie sat with me so well. But Carey Mulligan, one, has never been in this position. I thought she should have been here for Promising Young Woman, but that went to, what was it, the Frances McDormand that year. You know, I really think Carey Mulligan, it's her time. Like, Emma Stone, she has one for La La Land. Lily Gladstone, I love, and I actually think she's the best part of Killers of the Flower Moon. I love Leonardo DiCaprio. Robert De Niro eats his role up as well. But Lily Gladstone is the heart and soul of that film. But there's been conversations since that movie premiered. She's not in it enough. She just disappears. I disagree with all of those. I think she is a force. Yes, she's sick. Everyone's like, she's been sick coughing in bed for half the movie. And she's doing it great. The lady is sick acting better than all of y'all could just regular act. Sorry, but she's killing it. So I really want to see Lily Gladstone here, but Carey Mulligan. I mean, Felicia, her character is just so layered and complicated, and I feel bad for her, but also she's so strong and powerful. And then you want to see an actress who plays sick very well. Her character goes through it in Maestro. She's just, and that's what Bradley Cooper does well with Lady Gaga in A Star Is Born, and now with Carey Mulligan in Maestro. He makes sure to make these movies about men in the music industry, but also happens to say, let me focus on the women behind them. And it's not some behind every, great man, there's an even better woman. This woman didn't want to be behind this man. She's just is like, oh my goodness. So I really like what he does, and I really think he allows Carey Mulligan to shine. I thought he was going to, much like Star Is Born, just eat up the role, eat up the whole movie, and he does. But Carey Mulligan is such a force. But Sandra Huller, like Margot Robbie, I love Margot Robbie, but I just don't see her dominating, because to me, Ryan Gosling is the acting winner for that movie more than Margot Robbie is. But Margot Robbie produced the movie. She is such an involvement. Her just getting nominated for Best Picture as a producer is a big deal. This directing category that I have here in my predictions is, to me, one of my favorite directing categories of all time. If we can throw in like Jordan Peele here, it could be the greatest lineup of like our modern directors. So right now I have Christopher Nolan, Greta Gerwig, Martin Scorsese, Bradley Cooper, and Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things. Poor Things is a movie I wish I thought would do better, but and the Academy is different. They've given The Shape of Water, they've given Parasite, they've ventured into even giving Nightmare Alley a nomination. So Poor Things definitely is going to be in the conversation, but are they in the mood for weird once again? Everything Everywhere All at Once won last year, and that's to me one of the weirdest movies to ever win Best Picture. The Shape of Water is also up there as well. So, so I could see Poor Things being in the conversation. Yorgos is great, with Killer of the Sacred Deer and all these other films. The Favorite, which was a big deal at the Academy Awards as well. What was it? Olivia Colman beat Lady Gaga because we got the speech. Lady Gaga. Like, don't doubt Yorgos. He can get his women to the thing, but can he get himself? Can he get a Best Director win? To me, it's Bradley Cooper. It's the best director. He directs from the sound team to the cinematographers to the production design. The way he works with every person on his production crew, it just feels like it's an auteur in a way that I haven't seen an auteur in quite some time. That feels like auteur, the auteur theory is very much like it's his vision, his one thing, but it feels like he has his vision, but he also wants everyone else to have a piece of that cake. Like, please, I want this to look like how I want, but you design it that way. You give me this score. You give me this. Like, he seems like an auteur that's ready to play with everyone else. Where, people like Scorsese and Nolan, I often think are very into their box, into their theme. I mean, if Scorsese didn't have his longtime director or his longtime editor Thelma, I don't know where he would be. So that's to me his biggest collaborative thing there. And Nolan is Nolan. He's fought for this Best Director win for such a long time. Should he have gotten it for The Dark Knight years ago? Sure, I'm not even the biggest Dark Knight person, but he should have won it there. But is this his time? Is Oppenheimer the moment? I truly think, Oppenheimer cannot Big Five because it doesn't have Emily Blunt in that lead actress category. Though, if they're feeling it, they could always change some things up. Emily Blunt is definitely not a lead actress. Lily Gladstone is. Carey Mulligan is a lead. Sorry, that's my feelings. Emily Blunt is not a lead in that movie. So yeah, I definitely think he can't Big Five, but he can definitely get Nolan can definitely get an Oscar win for Best Director. Would he get Best Picture as well? I don't know, but I would personally lean towards Bradley Cooper because I think he directs his whole film the best, but I do think Nolan has the biggest flashier one, and then Greta Gerwig. Greta Gerwig directed the highest grossing film of the year. She is one of the biggest female directors of all time. She has the Academy Award prestige, but she's never won Best Director either. Nolan and Gerwig are really like in a competition with themselves at so many times, and that's why I think someone like Bradley Cooper, Yorgos Lanthimos can really come in and be like, oh, you guys are in your own race, and I won the race. Like, I really hope that is how it unfolds. Who knows this Oscar season? Because Best Picture gets even more confusing. Now for Best Picture. My predictions are Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Barbie, The Holdovers, a movie I don't have here too much, but Jeffrey Wright, blah, blah, blah. I love I love Jeffrey Wright. I want this movie to do well. I just don't see it. And then we also have The Zone of Interest, the one I told you is going to keep popping up. Anatomy of a Fall could definitely be here. I would love to see Past Lives, even though I didn't love it. I definitely can see it there. One, it's A24, so at the time, this is one of the only people who can promote their movie. Like, I want to see Priscilla here, but the conversation for Priscilla with Sofia Coppola, it just isn't slapping the way I think it should slap, though people are liking it, so maybe, we could see her in Best Actress for sure, but at the moment I haven't seen Priscilla. I can't really place where I want it to be, but yes, these are some of my quick picks for Best Picture. I want it to be Maestro. I think it could be Maestro. Again, the industry backing, the Netflix has not won Best Picture yet. No, did Roma win? No, Netflix does not have it yet. I think the first streaming service to win Best Picture is Apple with Coda. So Netflix is still trying to get it. As much as, like, again, Nolan's in his own race, Netflix is in a race for this Best Picture. Maestro could be their easiest pick. I would love to see, like, May, December here. There was a couple things, like Rustin I love, Naiads are great, great film. But I really think out of all of the Netflix oeuvre that they have this year, Maestro is the best chance. But don't sleep on Oppenheimer. It's like the biggest movie that's prestigious, but also a blockbuster. Barbie is very much the same way, but Barbie doesn't have this prestige value because it's not a biopic about an old white guy, basically. But yes, still, there's a lot of conversations to be had here. Maestro's my pick. Maestro is one I think Netflix is going to promote heavily during awards season. Bradley Cooper is a showman beyond other showmen, and also the producers for this movie are Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese. So they're also going to help him out too. Like, Spielberg, other than Color Purple, doesn't really have a massive film that he's backing this year or, he's a part of. So he would like to be a part of the conversation. Where do you guys think? For Best Pictures, to me, the hardest one. They can fill up 10 slots. I would love to see Poor Things here. I would love to see a lot of movies here. But the ones that I'm picking, like Zone of Interest, Holdovers, Maestro, Barbie, all these movies are, for me, the for sure ones. Everything else is up in the air, and I'm fingers crossed that Maestro can Big Five all of this. Well, everyone, that is it for my video breaking down this year's Oscar predictions. I plan on updating this video in a couple months when I've seen more movies, when the conversation has shifted more, like what the hell The Color Purple is going to do, what else do we have going for us. There's a lot going on, but make sure you guys tune in to Flickering Myth for more award season coverage, for more videos just like this, and for my movie reviews that you guys can find somewhere up here. All right, what are your predictions for the Big Five? Share your thoughts right down below. Subscribe, thumbs up, all that jazz, and let's talk about the Oscars right down here.